So after doing some critical thinking in my gaming room, I realized I missed several important details and even gave you guys some wrong troop modifiers. So I'm going to remedy that here in this video. This is a part 2 in a series that will break down the mechanics of Evony. In this video, I'll go over some details about layers, rally, and reinforcement mechanics, as well as explain some things that I missed in my previous video. But first, let's go over the correction. Thanks to Smokin on Discord for pointing this out to me and giving me his troop modifier values as a reference. I came up with the previous numbers before I had a good understanding of the mechanics, especially counterattack mechanics, and some of these were just estimates, and I forgot to go back over them and come up with more accurate values. As soon as I realized this, I made a combat simulator on Excel to test all of these numbers and come up with something that's more accurate. And when you look at this, you'll see, for instance, range for siege, I have it as 1.1 as the modifier and change it to 1.105. It very likely is 1.1. However, due to Ebony's way of rounding up, rounding down, what decimals that they use, I found that I'd have some small inaccuracies in my battle simulation. It usually is correct down to the troop, but it may be 2 or 3 troops off. And this just goes to show you that you can't trust anyone that says they know the mechanics of Ebony. And all those critics demanding proof are completely justified. However, I'd like to regain some of my credibility and show you that this does work and show you proof of it working in action. So let's go ahead and do that right now. We're going to go and search up a random number generator to come up with 2 completely random numbers between 1 and 1000. And we're going to use tier 1 ranged armies to fight each other. So we have 281 and 647. I'm going to my battle simulator that I made on Excel, and we're going to use 281 attackers, 647 defenders, and we're going to calculate this battle out and come out with 158 wounds that the attackers give the defenders. And here we are doing the actual battle. So 647 defenders going to a tile, and then we sent 281 attackers at that tile, and now we just have to wait for the battle report to confirm. And as we wait, I'll explain that the battle simulator that you saw uses the formula from my previous video and combines it with the counterattack mechanics to come up with an accurate wound number between 2 different layers. I'm sharing it with everyone here, though it has limited uses, and I'll explain why later in the video, but it should help anyone who can't math good. Now that we have our battle report in, we can see that the 158 wounds that the defenders would suffer from the attackers was accurate, and I'm going to go over exactly how that happened and a little bit more detail of the counterattacks. So going over that previous battle and this battle simulator that I made, first thing I'm going to mention is that we're only going to be changing the beige values here. And you can change whatever tier is involved, whatever type of troop is involved, and you're going to put the number of troops involved in the fight. You can also change your buffs and your flat buffs as well as the enemies. And I didn't go over this in the previous video, as a lot of experienced enemy players do understand this, but how buffs work is you have a base value, and these are the troop base values. And for example, if you take 400 of the mounted HP. So we're going to go to mounted, and we have a final of 400. If we were to add 10%, that is 10% of 400. Okay, so it's 440. And if you add a flat, it becomes 450. Debuffs only affect percents, and they can only debuff you half of your buffs. So if the enemy had 20% debuff on mounted HP, this would only go down to 5. And this applies to a lot of your base stats throughout everything. So march speed, march size, research speed, construction speed, you have a base value. And then there's a green value that tells you how much it is buffed. So just to go over a few other things, this troop modifiers, these automatically update, depending on what troops are involved. And this right here, it tells you what troop goes first in a solo battle. This isn't very relevant when it comes to actual battles, and this entire thing is more of a training aid to help you understand how the battles work. As typically when you have a battle, range are going to be attacking mounted, mounted are going to be attacking ground, siege are going to be attacking siege, and then range. So there's very not so often that you're going to be able to have a troop attacking each other in the battle. This is really just for understanding how it works. And this right here is just going to tell you who attacks first. So siege versus ground siege. Siege is going to attack first, and if it's siege versus siege, it's the attacker. Range is going to attack first unless it's against siege, and so on. So when I come down here to the battle simulator, it's not necessarily the attacker that I want to put here. It's the first person to attack. Is going to be in the attacking phase. So like I said, it's like initial attacking troop, initial defending troop. And that's what I mean by that. Going over the battle that we just had, we had 281 versus 647. The 281 troops, they kill 82.6. Those troops, and yes, 0.6, so even like a half a troop, will counter and deal 24.3 kills. And the remaining troops that are involved also deal kills. And this is going to go on for 2 battles since the attackers are only half the size of the defending troops. And it tells you exactly what happens and it tells us how we calculated this out. Now, this battle shows that it keeps on going forever, and it's just to show that it's just saying that, hey, they have no troops, and if the battle kept on going, they would keep on doing this many kills. That doesn't really happen. It's just how I have it set up here. Now, something to kind of go over, this again isn't very valuable, but what you can do is if you said, okay, well, I have, all these tier 12 range troops. Let's say I have 500,000 tier 12 range troops, and I want to know how many tier 12 mounted troops that I'm going to kill with this. So I'm going to just put this up to some absurd number. And without any buffs, I'll know that on my first attack that I'm going to be killing about 180,000 of them. And that's just on one attack with all the tier 12 range. And this is a little bit more useful. That's using the damage per troop and the kill per troop values and kind of helping you understand, okay, this is how many troops I'm going to take out in the first battle. So I want to kind of explain how I found the counterattack mechanics. This is something that's not so intuitive, and I'm just going to show that if we take 68 range troops, this is just a random number, it says 20, gets 20 kills. It's not actually 20 kills, it's about 19, and we're going to go ahead and show that right here. I'm going to take the format, take it to number, and you see it's 19.9. So if I set 68 range troops, I'll know that it'll kill 19 troops, and there won't be any counterattack. So we're going to go ahead and put 19 right here, and you see there's no counterattack damage. The attackers lose no troops. There's no kills, no troops. If I put 20, just one extra troop, that's it, just one extra troop, they come out to losing 5.87 troops. So I wouldn't say one troop. It's a 0.01 troop, and I couldn't understand why this was happening. And that's when we found out that it's actually counterattack. It's these killed troops are actually attacking once. Because if I was to put 19.99, let's do that. Let's go ahead and put 19.99. We see that's 5.87 right here. So let's do this, 19.99, and we're going to put you up to like 4,000. And you'll see it's 5.88, which is 5.87 in the previous one. It's just not showing all the decimals. And that's how many kills those, again, those troops that you wounded, that's how much they're going to be killing, and that's how the counterattack damage works. I hope that explains it. And someone asked in a previous comment, after they counterattack, they are removed from the battle. They don't keep counterattacking over and over. Okay, before I move on, I'm going to address some questions I saw in the YouTube comments. And if I don't address your question, it's probably because I'm going to make another video specifically about it. But the first one is asking about HP and defense and wounds and deaths. Now, I did read this thing where it says, okay, defense is drained, the troop is wounded, HP is drained, and the troop is dead. This is not true at all. And HP and defense, all it does is it reduces the attack damage to the HP. And when HP reaches 0, that troop is wounded. What determines if a troop is killed or captured, and they will go to your holy palace or be deserters or become prisoners, is based on a troop to death ratio that is a separate stat altogether. And you'll see that some generals have a wounded to death ratio or a death to wounded ratio. You see this also in your research. That is what determines how many kills you have. It also, I mean, siege is always going to be killed if it becomes wounded. Okay, next question. So in my previous video, I said that archers do not attack any other troop until all mounted troop layers are gone. And I probably should have been more specific. I meant they do not directly attack any other unit. They'll still attack only mounted. However, if a ground unit attacks your archers, or if another archer attacks your archers, they will suffer from counterattack damage, even though they never get directly attacked. This is the same concept as why your tier 1s, tier 2s, and tier 3s, all your lower tiers still suffer wounds. It's not because they're ever directly attacked by a unit. It is specifically only because counterattack damages, as we've discussed. Alright, and this comment is in regards to my smoke detector. Haha, very funny. Next. Fine. Gotcha. So moving on to rally and reinforcement mechanics. The rally leader, or building owner, if you're the keep or if you're in battlefield, applies their debuffs. This is important, as if you are a rally setter, you may want to compromise, and instead of focusing on attack, you may want to focus on some more debuffs on your rally general. This will benefit the rest of your team greatly, as it would be better to do a 25% decrease in the enemy's HP than it would be to give your own troops a 20% increase in attack. Each participant uses their own buffs. So I know there's a lot of people going around saying that the rally setter sets the buffs for everyone. That's not true. The participants have their own buffs. The only thing the rally setter does is apply their debuffs. Every player in a rally or reinforcement counts as separate layers. So remember what we talked about, troops attack from the top tier down. Well, in this case, they still do attack from the top tier down, but now with a rally or with reinforcements, you have 5 or 6 different troops that are tier 13 mounted, and then tier 12 mounted, and then tier 11 mounted. So that makes it so that a rally hitting you, or especially an individual hitting you, won't be able to do much damage because they're trying to go through your defensive layers. And if you have enough people reinforcing you, let's say, for instance, you have like 10 people reinforcing you with 100 mounted of every layer, a K40 archer cannot do a march on you. Like a K40 hitting you with range will not win against you because they have to go through all those layers. And subsidies follow the same mechanics. They are essentially rally participants or reinforcement participants. Their troops act like layers, and the only difference is that they apply their debuffs. Since this is Barbarian Week, I decided to demonstrate this by attacking a level 5 Barbarian with a mediocre march and losing, and then attacking that same Barbarian with the same march, but adding reinforcement layers that all they did was defensive reinforcement layers, just 30 troops of every type of layer from several different keeps, just to show that the defensive reinforcements kept my troops alive long enough to defeat this barb. And it was even a weak march. And if you are a K30 or like a K32 and you're having trouble with these high tier um, barbs, you can ask several teammates just to put in defensive layers to join a rally, and you should be able to defeat them no problem at all. That's going to wrap up this video. I have much more to go over, but making these lengthy videos take a lot of time and effort, from the video editing, the testing, overcoming my speech impediment, but I'm surprised and a bit overwhelmed at the support everyone has given me. So don't forget to check out the Battle Simulator in the description, and let me know what questions that you want me to cover in the... What the...